All right, good to go, Katie, ready?
Yep.
All right, welcome, everyone. This is the Burlington City Council. This is meeting number 4, February 17th, 2026, 5:30 PM, here in the Thomas J. Smith Council Chambers at City Hall, 400 Washington Street in beautiful Burlington, Iowa. Would you all please rise and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much, everyone. Roll call.
Kreitzer,
I'm here.
Scott,
Yes.
Weiss,
Yes.
Wilson, Phillips.
Here. All right, first on our meeting tonight, we're going to have comments from the audience. If anyone has any comments for council about something that's not on the agenda, now would be the time to come to the lectern, give us your name and address and your issue. We'll be happy to discuss it. Okay, he's shaking his head no. We have one visitor and he's saying no. Okay, good. All right, we're going to move on to the consent agenda. All matters listed under item 1, consent agenda, having been discussed, are considered to be routine by city council and will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items. If discussion is desired, that item will be removed from the consent agenda and considered separately. Tonight on the consent, we have minutes of previous meetings, payroll, and city claims. Beer, liquor, wine, and cigarette permits, reports and bonds. We have 4 resolutions. The first one is a resolution approving nuisance abatements for various properties. Number 2 is a resolution approving the certified local government annual report for the city of Burlington. Number 3 is a resolution approving the final plat of the Steiner subdivision. And number 4 is a resolution approving refund of cigarette license for Concordia LLC doing business as Concordia and Concordia Wine and Cigars. We're setting the date for 2 public hearings. First one will be a consideration of plans and specs for the 2026 Dolan Street Storm Sewer Project. That'll be March 2nd, 2026. Mark your calendars. And the second will be a consideration of City of Burlington proposed property tax levy for fiscal year July 1st, 2026 through June 30th, 2027. And that meeting will take place April 6th, 2026. And we have one appointment, and that would be the Human Rights Commission, Den Powell. Is there anyone, there's going to be a lot of burden on you because you're in the audience tonight. Is there anyone in the audience would like any one of these items removed from the consent and discussed separately? No. Counselor, is there anyone on city council would like any of these items discussed separately? Hearing none, I entertain a motion.
Your Honor, I have a motion to approve all listed under item 1, consent agenda.
Second.
Kreitzer,
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
Weiss,
Yes.
Phillips.
Aye. Ordinances.
All right, Your Honor, I have a motion for preliminary adoption of the second reading of an ordinance amending various sections of Chapter 73, speed regulations of the Burlington Municipal Code.
Get a second, please.
Second. Welcome, Nick.
Good evening. So in front of you is ordinance amendment to the speed ordinance. The first part we've discussed a couple times now, and that is relevant to the school zone timing change from the currently signed, but in ordinance, those are conflicting. That will be amended to read 7:30 to 4:30, and that would be changed on all the signage. I won't spend a lot of time on that unless there's questions. The more relevant conversation is around the speed alteration in the amendment to Mason Road from Roosevelt to Summer Street. So in the amendment, the roadway corridor would be amended to be 30 miles an hour other than the area around what I would call the S-curves. So in front of you, I actually have the speed study that was recently conducted by McClure. After doing some research, we actually conducted a speed study back in 2015 as well. I won't belabor you with a bunch of speed data. That would be an engineering thing to do. But just to show you that the 2 speed studies were fairly similar in their resulting information. So just kind of going over some pertinence, if you want to take a look at it or ask questions about it. Talks about the speed limits, that the average speed of those vehicles are going. So
What intersection? Is that the
this
Roosevelt
one, I believe,
intersection?
shows it right here. So
Okay, thank you.
just east of Haskell. So they actually had two sites, east of the intersection of West. So I think
Okay.
they put that one closer to Winchester for the traffic counting marker.
So the circled area, that's the speed, the people are going
Yeah,
25, 30,
and so
14,000.
I will let you know that this first part of the presentation is what was prepared and presented to council back in 2015.
Oh.
And so I didn't want to reinvent the wheel, but I also wanted to show the previous conversation for context.
Okay,
And so, yes, this is showing by count where most of the traffic is involved. The speed limit change is right at Haskell, and you can see the average speed is around 29. So that's just information. This is also, it's hard to read, but it shows the speed zones and the roadways. So this is Mason Road right here. You can tell in this previous map, it showed the 35 had a little area for the school zone. The thing that I relate to is the 30-mile-an-hour area and the arterial corridors that are currently 30 through much of town. So I just wanted to show that as just as kind of a visual aid of what we currently have at 30. And so this was the conclusion that my predecessor made. There's actually information that would garner support for having Mason Road be 35. So, but I wanted to get into the current or the more pertinent timing of the speed study we just had conducted. I had hired McClure to do the speed study. This was actually last year after some of the changes we were going through. And it talks about the average speed. The 85th percentile is what I had referred to last time. And essentially summarizing that we're justified leaving the areas that are 35 at 35 with, 85th percentile at 33 mile an hour, give or take. Obviously, you can't sign it at 33, so you essentially have to make a choice. The bigger reason I bring this information up is if you're lowering a speed limit from 35 to 30, you don't need as much pertinent information to justify the alteration in speed because you're bringing it down. But if you're increasing a speed limit, you need to have engineering information and justification as why you're increasing the speed limit. And so that same information carries forward from the section from Haskell to the S-curve and then from the S-curve to Summer. So the speed limits were essentially the same in those areas, but then the conclusion of the engineering study was that we are justified in making the whole corridor, other than the S-curves, 30 mile an hour. So I just wanted to, didn't really talk about the speed study.
Yeah.
It's a 13-plus page document. If you would all like to read it and review it, you can, but the second part of the amendment of this ordinance is related to the speed on Mason Road.
okay. Anyone in the audience have any thoughts or concerns about this? Council, any thoughts or concerns?
Just a comment, when that street was constructed, prior to the construction, we had 88 separate meetings on that. And several of them were design ideas and changes. At one point, they were gonna go between the airport and the back of the properties on the south side of Mason Road. But a lot of the meetings dealt with the speed limit, and the people that lived on Harrison and Mason Road insisted that it be 25 mile an hour up to the last house on Mason Road before you got into the new
Curves.
parts. And I think that's why you're seeing it different from what the rest of them were. I think most of the people that were there are gone. There's still a few left. And I think the design of the road and the justification because of West Avenue and Division and all the other roads that are 30 mile an hour, I'm comfortable with it.
Yeah, I would say from my point, is since we changed the school zone, because there was no neighborhoods on the opposite side, and it's so far from the school grounds, you know, one thing I've noticed less of, because I'm on that road a couple of times a day, is people are no longer speeding up out of the school zone to make up those 3 seconds, which leads to a little bit more consistent. And Chief, close your eyes for a minute, and Tracy, this is gold paper. Who here doesn't go at least 5 miles over the speed limit most times? That's, see? So, I mean, yeah, so.
Well,
I'm
your
saying you're still within the
statistics
range.
also will show that that is the case.
I know, that's why I was pointing out, is that if it's 30, you're at least if you're within 3 or 4 miles, you're probably good. Unless it's a school zone.
So the point is, you're saying if it's 30, they might push 35, but if it's 35, they're gonna do 40.
Yeah, that's my point.
And we don't want that.
Yeah,
Would not
or
advise.
could.
Well,
Yeah.
and Chief Schaefer might be able to help weigh in on this, but, you know, why the change, why now?
Yeah.
Well, it brought top of mind because of the school zone, and we're discussing enforcement and consistency on that corridor. And
Yeah.
so,
I brought it up, sorry, Kay, go ahead. I brought it up a while ago too, because I didn't like there was like 4 different speeds on that road, for that short piece of road. So I like a consistent, go ahead.
That's what I
Okay,
was
thank
going to say, that having 30 the whole way is just fine, because you don't have to figure out, can I speed up, should I slow down? Just go.
Okay, any more discussion? Shall we vote?
Kreitzer,
Yes.
Scott.
Yes.
Weiss,
Yes,
Phillips.
Aye.
All right, Your Honor, I have a resolution approving urban revitalization tax exemptions pursuant to Chapter 404 of the State Code of Iowa, tax abatements.
Second.
Don't everybody jump at once, who's got
Sorry.
this one? That's great.
Eric has the list, but these are the typical catch-up for the year of new homes, new construction, or improvements to existing construction, tax abatement programs. Those have to be, by law, approved by council, certified as eligible, and then sent to the county assessor.
Okay.
Eric, anything else you want to add?
Yeah, it's just,
specific or
they have
unique?
to be submitted to the city by February 1st, and in order to be complete, they have to have final inspection, have gotten all their permits and occupancy. So there may be some that were close but didn't have everything done by that time that they'll roll into next year.
All right. Does anyone in the audience have any thoughts or concerns about this resolution? He's not even looking at me this time.
And maybe just for the sake of the
Yeah.
audience at home, right? So
Yeah.
if they're not reading the packet. So new residential construction, there
sorry.
were 11 applications. Permit value, which is the stated construction value, $4.8 million. Approximate assessed value, $2.6 million. And then the residential renovations or improvements, improving a property, that improvement, that increment would be eligible for abatement. There were 11 of those at 2.3 million, or estimated assessment of $1.2 million. And then there's some commercial ones as well. 3 of those, 1.4 million, and there's a new section of the code. That'll be the next item on the agenda.
Sorry about jumping the gun.
Nope.
Any thoughts or concerns? Council, thoughts or concerns? Let's vote.
Kreitzer,
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
Weiss,
yes.
Phillips.
Aye. Second resolution, please.
Your Honor, I have a resolution approving minimum assessment agreements pursuant to Chapter 404.3C of the State Code of Iowa.
Second. So this new section calls for minimum assessment agreements for commercial properties under Chapter 404. It's a little bit of unique aspect that the legislature put on this code section, and they created 3C, 404.3C, to require minimum assessment agreements. When you think about abatement, abatement runs differently than TIF or rebate because it just simply abates taxes, whatever the value is, based on the scale or the program that a municipality might put forward. The only conceivable way that this would even come close to mattering is on those that are 10-year, because it's a sliding scale, and so they do pay something in property taxes over the 10-year period of time, because it might go from 100, 90, 80, 70, 60 as the program goes through. And so there does need to be a minimum base value, but that is a mechanism that the assessor had always done anyway. Now the legislature in this new law, and this was part of House File 718 a couple years ago, they want a minimum assessment agreement. And again, a minimum doesn't necessarily track with abatements. It certainly doesn't have any implication in a 3-year when it's 100%, because all taxes are abated, right? So it doesn't matter what the assessment is, but we're still required to have a minimum assessment agreement. So this resolution approves three of them, I think, Eric, is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, the three
And
commercial
they're all
agreements.
listed in the packet, so maybe
And
Eric.
and this is a state mandate.
It's a code requirement for Chapter 404, 3C, right. It is an agreement, so it does have to be agreed to by the developer, and these are all that. And then it's an eligible project, so. Any questions on that process?
No, Eric, did you want to read the properties, or?
Yeah, it's the three commercial properties in the packet. So 2900 Division Street, 1532 Osborne, and 1115 North Roosevelt are the
Okay.
three addresses.
Anyone in the audience have any thoughts or concerns? Okay. Council, thoughts or concerns? Let's vote.
Kreitzer,
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
Weiss,
Yes,
Phillips.
Aye.
Your Honor, I have a resolution for us to approve the 5-year road plan.
Get a second.
Second. Sorry.
So in front of you is a resolution that would approve the 5-year road plan. I've presented before to the previous council, and then as stated at the work session, I just wanted a formalized process resolution approving the plan. And so just quickly going over that, obviously I didn't adjust this lovely little number here for Cascade Bridge. If you hadn't heard, we've got $6 million for Cascade Bridge coming, so that brings our local funding obligation down. In 27-8, or fiscal year 28, Sunnyside is the planned project with some seal coat. That's a STBG project right there for grant funding. And then we did not plan anything for 28, 29, kind of on the heels of not knowing what was going to happen with our bonding for Cascade Bridge. We have some seal coat work planned. There will be plenty of road work going on, though. We have quite a bit of sewer work going on, so there'll be some adjoining road work. For fiscal year 30, we have a bunch of mill and overlay sections listed, and then you all approved a STBG grant application for Mount Pleasant Street from Roosevelt to Curran. And you can see the local dollars in the grant asked. This is an application that we just submitted, so we won't hear that until about a month. And then fiscal year 31, we have some more overlay sections. Those are concrete areas, but we would go over with a thin overlay to try and make the driving surface better. And then we have some planned SCBG grant match. Don't have a programmed roadway yet, but that's the nuts and bolts. Oh, I'm getting early. That's the 5-year road plan, so I can answer any questions if there are.
So the first slide, it should say rather than 9 million,
Yeah.
it
So
should say,
yeah, and of course I didn't change anything. It was all in the packet or Wednesday before we made
Right.
an announcement on Friday. Didn't feel it privy to make an announcement before the announcement.
right,
But yeah, this number should go down. Right now, we're tracking it around a $10 million project. Obviously, things can change depending on what the MOA with the with SHPO will say. If there are certain requirements that they will ask us to do, if those costs, aren't realized yet, that those would have to go on top of.
and there are
But-
probably cost increase just based on the fact that this was estimated a couple of years ago as well.
Yep. And until you bid it out, it's all estimates, right?
Right,
You know, even
Right.
engineers get it off at
right.
times.
I just want for the public to be clear that it probably won't be 9 million, but we don't know for sure what it will.
What our obligation will be, correct?
Thank you.
To be decided. Once you have design, so what would be the process of that? Once you get the design cost back, or the bids, design cost back, would the, then go in and edit the CIP? Is that how you would do it, so it would reflect?
We might make some editing, the CIP is the CIP, and
It's
it's
a
a plan,
guideline.
right?
I
It's
understand.
kind of like this, so Nick could take this and he could have 8 million over in grant and 3 million in local. But again, it's just a plan,
Because we
right?
don't
And the
know
same,
cost.
CIP is the same way. We might know more next Monday when Travis Squires is here, our financial advisor, in terms of at least the local match piece and where he might recommend bonding. But even that can be dependent on bids and actual costs.
Okay.
Thank you.
Anyone in the audience have any questions? All right. Council, questions, thoughts, concerns? Hearing none, let's vote.
Kreitzer,
Yes, please.
Scott,
Yes.
Weiss,
Absolutely, yes.
Phillips,
Aye. Number 4.
Your Honor, I have a resolution approving the purchase of a 2026 Warren Total Patcher for the Public Works Department.
Second.
I kind of preluded to it, but what this resolution is a purchase of a $90,000 total patcher. Essentially, it's a rock emulsion pothole fixer, and so the image up on the screen is what we're going to purchase with this resolution. So I recommend approval.
Okay. In the audience, thoughts or concerns? No. Council?
This
thoughts or
is the
concerns?
replace one you already have that's seen
Correct.
its life?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Anything else?
And it came in under budget.
I did.
Yes.
Neat.
Anything else? Let's vote.
Kreitzer,
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
Weiss,
Yes.
Phillips,
Aye.
Round of resolution approving the purchase of 2026 Hal 23-yard automated front-load garbage truck for Public Works Department.
Second.
So this resolution would purchase a fully automated garbage truck. It's very similar to the one that we currently have. This is evidently a low-ride version versus our other one, which means the whole vehicle sits a little bit lower. What it essentially does is it allows one man to operate a garbage truck rather than our 2 or potentially 3-man operation. This is an addition or a replacement of a rear load truck. So my goal would be to get 2 automated trucks out into the field to pick up garbage. So the purchase price on this is $482,000. I think that the price is actually lower than what I put in the memo. So paid for out of solid waste funds.
So this would give us 2 of the front loaders and 1 left, or 2 of the rear packers?
So we have, in inventory, we have a total of 7 trucks.
Okay.
So we have, on Mondays, for instance, which today was double duty day, we actually had more trucks out because of that. We have 6 vehicles out on the road.
Okay. Anyone in the audience, any thoughts or concerns? No?
I didn't get to ask before, but how excited are the workers to have a new truck to use?
Mixed. So some of them like the automated. Some of the other ones actually like to get out and, do stuff. Some of them feel like it makes it feel like they're, a kid in their mom's basement playing video games because they're just using a joystick all day. But it's much better for the city because it helps reduce workman's comp liability.
Right, it's probably easier on them, right?
Yep.
Physically.
And Nick, we have 7 routes, is that right?
We pick up 5 days a week, but on Mondays we have 6 vehicles out on the road. So
Okay.
6 routes on Monday, 5 Tuesday, Wednesdays and Thursdays are a little bit lighter.
Where I was going is now there will be 2 automated trucks out,
Correct.
right? And your plan is to maybe add a couple more over time, except
There will be some routes where it just won't be feasible to have fully automated. We'd still have the rear loaders.
Agreed, yeah. I don't think that our city is probably fit for a completely automated system. There's too many terraces and we're in too many alleys that it would be very difficult to get out of. My goal would to be at least in 3. One, you could alter your pickup schedule, so you don't have to do a double duty day on Tuesday where you have to pick up Monday and Tuesday's garbage. That's a lot of cans for them to pick up. But, our current automated truck picks up around 500 cans a day per day. So it's doing probably 25% more than what the rear loads are, just because,
Wow.
yeah.
But with the hills and some of the alleys, totally automated wouldn't really be practical.
Some of them, yes, but we're in quite a bit of alleys right now with our current operation, with our current vehicle. We're gonna have to best fit where this one would go, but I think we can do that pretty easily, so.
Anything else? Let's vote.
Kreitzer,
Yes, please.
Scott,
Yes.
Weiss,
Yes,
Phillips,
Aye.
Your Honor, a resolution approving a short-term lease and site control agreement with Great River Fuels, Inc. for the city-owned property.
second.
Mr. Byrd?
Yep, Mayor, you heard a presentation from Jonathan Hazel last week during the work session. This is the resolution approving the short-term lease with Great River Fuels Incorporated. It's a requested lease to obtain temporary site control of city-owned parcel, locally known as the Dresseran site, for limited operational and/or storage purposes. The proposed short-term property lease and site control agreement provides for a 6-month initial term with an optional 6-month renewal. And it establishes rental considerations, maintenance responsibilities, insurance and indemnification requirements, and conditions for improvements and removal, should any of those happen. Again, as discussed during the work session, Mr. Hazel is looking for a site that he can say that he's controlling, that would be part of his proposed endeavor, and then that would allow him then to seek funding and/or investors.
Thoughts or concerns? Council, thoughts, concerns?
We had our neighborhood luncheon this weekend. There was quite a conversation on this, and they were pretty excited about it.
Yeah, I could,
They love the idea of the possibility of reusing General Electric in the long run, and they like the idea of the recycling the plastics. And I'm pretty excited about it myself. I like what he presented, and matter of fact, I was having a conversation with my wife. We're trying to decide how we're going to save the different plastics and keep track of it. And what's even more exciting, I hope she's not listening, we can get rid of some of the play school stuff and not feel guilty about it.
she's probably watching tonight.
And so
Anyway.
just to be clear on
I
that,
can guarantee you she's not.
he is looking at the old GE ABB site as the production facility, pending a lot of things. There's a lot of moving parts. He needs to secure grants and investors. This site, if he would use it, would be storage, warehousing. It wouldn't be production on this site,
Right,
right? So he wanted to make sure that was clear. And
Where's the Dresser-Rand site at? Like,
That's
It's
at the
down
one
by the
at-
tracks over by
at the end of
Central Street.
Washington
where
and
the
Central.
bridge is? Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
That was the hardest part to explain to these people.
Yeah,
Right,
Why
right.
that property and
Yeah.
what it was gonna be used
Yeah.
for, et cetera.
Yep.
So this is kind of a two-part eventually.
Right.
hopefully. Yeah, I mean, he's presented this before, and I've been stoked from the very beginning, because this could be a real game changer, not just for us, but for the United States as a whole, and really radically change some of Burlington's prospects, because if you're talking coming in by barge, rail, and the highways, and because he would like to see, he had a graph. Do you remember what that was, Chad? that a graph that from Burlington around 85 miles, we had more population than LA.
Right, like 45 million
so,
people and 80
yeah.
miles or something.
So, you know, if you could
yeah.
get plastic from all those places, that's
Right.
a lot of fuel they're producing. Could really be a game changer, so let's hope he gets it done.
But I think, I'm sorry, just to kind of go off that a little bit, we've talked about this at the Solid Waste Commission a little bit too. And right now, you know, we take 1, 2s, and 5s plastics because that's where the market is. The market only can absorb 1, 2s, and 5s. Mr. Hazel's talking about taking all plastics, any type, right? So that could really change landfill deferment, how we collect plastics here. I mean, it could really change that whole process for
He
us,
was even talking about recycling railroad ties because of the creosote in them.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. One last thing, just on the lease. So the city attorney is reviewing the lease. So I guess I would ask if you approve this, it's pending city attorney final review, which
Do we need to make an amendment to this then for that?
you could just state that.
Okay.
Pending city attorney final review.
Okay,
Do you want me to reintroduce it?
please, let's just do
Your Honor,
that.
resolution approving a short-term property lease and site control agreement with Great River Fuels, Inc. for the city-owned property pending attorney's review.
Second,
Okay, let's vote.
Kreitzer,
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
Weiss,
yes.
Phillips.
An enthusiastic aye. Number 7.
Your Honor, I have a resolution approving a bulky items pickup policy.
In a second.
Second. The right side is slacking.
Oh, actually, you still have a PowerPoint, didn't I? So, last week, I won't go through, what was this?
Nothing. Go ahead.
Last week, during the discussion items, I talked about bulky item pickup program, or the citywide cleanup replacement. I won't go through the full PowerPoint just to save you some time. But essentially, this program is a year-round call-in, email, or preferably online form submittal. And you would fill out the form. There's a bunch of rules that need to be followed, which are outlined in the policy. You would get 3 free pickups that you could schedule throughout the year. And then they would renew after the first of the year, January 1.
Can I have a question? about
Yeah,
the
sure.
pickups? Yeah, just because for the public's sake, when you say three free pickups, that's pickup events, right?
Correct.
So if you got a couch and a chair and whatever, you can put, because you have a guideline how much space,
Correct.
and then you can put them all out there. So it's not like one item per time.
Yes.
Okay, good, thanks.
Yep. And maybe I should reclassify the title of that. Essentially, what you're approving is just the policy. Upon approval, we will need to do quite a bit of marketing type materials, things that go on the website, Facebook, some mailers of some sort. And we'll make sure we clarify
Thank you.
that piece of the puzzle. I don't know that I want to go through all of this, even though I'm halfway through. So I'm at next steps. I think that this is going to be a worthwhile change to our current operations. The citywide cleanup as it was, I think, just became kind of out of control. So I think we can control this much easier, and I think that the residents will actually see a bigger benefit in this situation.
Yes, you don't have to keep an old sofa piled up on your porch or wherever you can call and get it
Yep.
taken care of.
Garage or front yard, hoping someone will come get it.
Yeah.
And if anybody's listening in and they want the details, it's on page 54 of the packet, under Burlington Curbside Bulky Items Pickup Policy. It'll direct you to the website, to the email, and any other information you need to schedule a pickup. So it's all right here in the packet for those listening at home that are curious about the details.
So the link isn't live yet. I
Okay.
will clarify that.
Okay. Yeah. Is there any thoughts or concerns about this as it is? Where we're looking at the policy? No? Council, thoughts or concerns further beyond what's in the packet?
This was just another topic that we had this weekend at our luncheon, and After the conversation, they seemed pretty receptive to it.
Yeah.
They were afraid we were eliminating the pickup program, and they said, no, we're modifying it, so.
Yeah, that was, I would concur, that was what my first response was from people when it was kind of teased that we were making a change, so they thought they were losing the ability to do it. But once you explained it to them, that's why I think the pickup events is different than pickups. Then they, okay, I can get rid of all that stuff at once, so.
Well, then there's not that time constraint, because it seemed like mine fell on the week that I was always gone
Yeah, now
or
you
doing
can schedule
something. Yeah, had something all scheduled, and I don't have time to clean out my garage or move a piece of furniture during that specific week. But now, if I need to, I can give you a call and set it out.
Anything else? Let's vote.
Kreitzer,
Yes.
Scott,
Thanks, Nick.
Yes,
Weiss,
Yes,
Phillips.
Aye. Okay, budget discussion is always on our mind. Is there anything council's come up with on the budget you want to address tonight?
So the one thing that I would add, Mayor, if it's all right, Stephanie sent out an amended or revised CIP, capital improvement plan. I think the biggest change there was we took the unfundeds out.
Okay.
And then cleaned up any other discussion items that we had had. So that was sent out to you ahead of time. Would ask for any questions, clarification regarding the CIP or any other. This is kind of the final free-flowing discussion of the budget. Obviously, we'll still have our hearings and things like that, but it'll get harder and harder to add to the budget. We can always take away from once we publish and set hearings and things like that. So otherwise, it's kind of the final free-flowing discussion, thoughts, questions.
Let's have them.
thanks Stephanie for putting this out. That helped a lot to answer a lot of questions. I had some concerns that I addressed with Chad about not showing grants that were received, and he explained why they weren't in there yet, and I'm okay with that. It's just gonna be hard for me to say okay to this if we don't have more details and have and show those grants.
And Tim, you're referring specifically to the community development funding for Cascade? Or were there other ones as
Yeah,
well?
Cascade Bridge and the roundabout.
Okay.
And there was another one in there that slips my mind right now.
When's that roundabout? We just applied for that, Nick. When would that even be awarded?
So we received the TSIP grant, that's $500,000. But we just applied.
You need to come up here, Nick, so people can hear. Sorry.
You want to let Mr. Hazel know that we're.
Yeah, I just did. I gave him a
Okay.
thumbs up. You're all right, John. If you want to turn around and leave, you're fine. We're just gonna have, it'll be pending, attorney review, which we don't foresee any problems, so. Go get this done. Let us know what we can do to help. Okay? Thank you.
In terms of the grants that we've applied or are going to be putting towards the West Burlington Avenue roundabout, we've received the TSIP grant, which I believe is $500,000. We've just submitted the RISE grant, which is the economic development arm of that. We would know maybe in a couple months. So I would think that the budget would probably be approved prior to that process. So, but we could certainly amend, or I could add the data that we have the TSIP grant, which is the traffic safety part.
Yeah, so if you get the grants, you're looking at what our cost is, a couple $100,000?
Essentially design costs.
Yeah, design cost, okay.
And that's where, I would just ask for a little bit of discretion because it's a planning document and some of these things constantly move around, so,
Well, we move things from year to year, so we can sure amend it.
yeah.
Will we be having the community field discussion and the Burlington Bees Association new agreement before the April 6th publication of the budget?
We can try to. Yeah, I mean, any of those agreements that come due, that one, the CVB,
June 30th, I think.
they're due June 30.
Right.
We always try to get those even before May, just so everybody knows what's going on, so. And that's one of them. So I've already sent notices to those folks that have agreements coming due. I've already sent notices out of our intent to renegotiate to all those organizations, so.
What other organizations are you,
It was the Bees, CVB, it seemed like there was one other one that I can't recall right now,
okay,
that have agreements coming up June 30.
okay.
This BRE.
No, and it may have been the Arts
Yeah,
Collective
the Arts
one that you're proposing, Mayor, so.
Yeah, that one's really concerning in that
Which
one
one's
of
that,
those
Tim? I'm sorry.
recipients just got a 70% reduction in their property values and reduced their tax liability by 70%. And, I hope they refrain and let the other arts,
Yeah, it's
I'll
not
step
for,
forward and
it's
apply.
not for operational costs, it's for promotional costs. That's what they're looking at doing, because that's also why we excluded the out-of-town ones, Legacy Theater and Fort Madison and the Nightcap. And the agreement is for promotional cost and events, not for operations. And we're gonna get a detailed report from them where the money went, and if they abuse it, then we'll turn around and change it.
all right. That's whatever. I've got a philosophical difference, so that's
Okay.
all right. And then just on the bees, I mean, we give them well over $700,000 to retire the debt on a project that the citizens never really had an opportunity to address. And then we're continuing to give them an additional $50,000 for existing debt. And then we were giving them $50,000 for
Yeah, we pulled that.
capital improvements. And then we've increased the $6,350 that we were giving them for utilities, we've increased it to 24,000. So they were still going to get 74,000. But most of those years during that debt we were giving them over $200,000 a year. A private business, we were giving over $200,000 a year. We were giving them over $200,000 a year because they made a bad decision. Not the citizens of Burlington didn't make that bad decision. They made the bad decision. They made the decision to make these improvements, and then the citizens got held liable for that bad decision.
That's what that council
And-
decided
and-
at that
and
time.
Those investors that jumped the gun got made whole at the citizens' expense. And I'm got severe heartburn over that, and we definitely need to have a discussion on that. And right now, that place is not an asset, it's a liability. It's a liability to every citizen in this community. So like I said, that discussion will be coming up.
Okay. Anything else? All right. That ends our agenda for tonight. We have final comments coming from staff. Eric, anything from development?
Just reminder, Shamrock Shuffle, you can still sign up. I think we have 220 plus registered so far, so that's coming up here middle of March, so I encourage people to sign up for that.
All right. Is that it? Okay. Tim, anything from wastewater tonight? Stephanie, anything from finance? Chief Schaefer, anything going on?
Yes, Burlington Area Crime Stoppers annual fundraiser is this Saturday, February 21st. Doors open at 6 p.m. They'll have a live band. Admission is $15, and it's held at the Casino Event Center.
Okay, great. Deputy Chief Ramus, anything? Negative. Negative, okay. Nick, anything else from Public Works or as your position of Deputy City Manager? Oh, Katie, I forgot to ask you, anything from the clerk's office? You never give me anything. Go ahead.
I don't know if you all heard, but we got $6 million for Cascade Bridge.
Yep, I heard that.
Sorry, just saying. We had a meeting today with McClure, and we're trying to ramp up. We have some public engagement meetings upcoming. We're planning one somewhere in the mid-late March timeframe. just so you're aware. And so we'll have a bunch of things go out for that. So this is kind of that, ask the people what they want to see, some of that, engagement type stuff, and then we can turn around and submit for the memorandum of agreement with SHPO. So Just-
So when you're doing that, will you have some potential mock-ups ready, or?
Yes.
Okay.
we'll have, so there's a architect, I don't know, remember what his name is, but he's done some drawings. This isn't, I don't want to give too much away too soon, but has given some drawings of what things could look like, kind of setting what the imagination of some of these people, the people that would be asked to be there, so. It'd be a public thing. I don't know if we have all the details yet, but just be aware that that's coming. And we got $6 million for that dang bridge, so.
Good job, Nick.
Good job, Nick. Mr. Byrd?
The only thing I have is just to share a notice from our friends over at Burlington Community School District. They are having a groundbreaking ceremony for the Aldo Leopold Performing Arts Center on Tuesday, March 10th at 5:30. All's invited.
What time?
5:30, Tuesday? I'll send more information as we get closer. March 10, it's a little ways away, so.
Okay,
Exciting times.
yeah,
That's all I have, thanks.
thank you. Robert, anything tonight?
Negative.
Tim, quit copying the deputy chief. Tim?
Yeah, I had, I thought it was an excellent meeting with the seniors down at the senior center, and more to come on that. And I've had 2 or 3 conversations since then with a couple of the different members, so we'll be coming back to the city.
Okay. Sounds good. I don't have anything except condolences to Annie Wilson and her husband and the Jerry Jockham's family. So, great guy, one of our civic legends, always was a volunteer and a fantastic person. So keep his family in your thoughts if you would. With that, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Kreitzer,
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
Weiss,
Yeah.
Phillips.
Aye. Thank you, everyone.